Well, Brandon Hyde, as we bring in Roch Kubatko, hey, welcome to the fray. Brandon's sticking up for his guys and managers. That's what they often do. But maybe tempered down a little bit because Cora reacted a little later, a little differently.
Right. I mean, maybe just a little misunderstanding to spice up a slow news day. But absolutely, Cora seems surprised by it. Of course, the media does what you do. You bring up his comments to Brandon pregame. Then you go to Alex Cora to say, hey, here's what Brandon said. And he said that. He was surprised by the word disrespectful, and he tried to explain it. The fact that Cora on his morning radio show today used red flag as a phrase, I think that was kind of a trigger there, as if maybe the Orioles were doing something they shouldn't have been doing. And he stressed, no, I meant the possibility that Sale was tipping his pitches and something we would look into. Mm-hmm. Of course, you want to explore that. He said, I'm not suggesting they're doing anything wrong. And he goes, multiple times said I will talk to Brandon if I need to, if that's really what he's thinking is the problem.
Yeah.
But I give Cora credit. He addressed the elephant in the dugout.
Yes.
Not once, but twice. You get the irony. This is a man, he said, look, I'm the last person to accuse anybody of doing something wrong. Right, because I was, the one who got myself in this situation, is suspended in 2020 for his role in the 2017 sign-stealing scandal in Houston twice. I was surprised he brought it up once, let alone doubling back and saying again, I'm the last guy to accuse. But I understand Brandon standing up for his guys. He thought it was the best at-bats they've had maybe since he's been the manager here. And he didn't want that to be kind of overshadowed or downplayed by opposing managers saying, well, maybe he was just tipping his pitches. And Cora said again, I will go talk to him if that's what he thinks I meant. I didn't mean that at all. But there's clearly something wrong. They made contact on 40 of their 42 swings against Sale. No strikeouts, as you said. Something didn't seem right there.
Well, Roch, the pitching's been so good. The starting pitching, the bullpen, it's all been there during this great run. And more pitching maybe on the way, right? Good news tonight.
Right. Dylan Tate starting his rehab assignment tonight with Aberdeen in Wilmington, Delaware. Probably go an inning. He's estimated 5 or 6 appearances, and he could be ready back-to-back at the end there. And then you activate him, and Michael Givens, we keep being told, is going to start his later this week. We haven't gotten a date yet, but it's supposed to happen. That's all the good news. Maybe the better news is, well, how do you make room for these guys? And these things always have a way of working themselves out. There's plenty of time still.
More is better, Roch.
Yes, absolutely. But how do you work this out if there isn't the obvious? There's no placeholder right now. We thought it would be Yenier Cano. He came up here when Keegan Aiken went on the paternity list. This guy's retired all 20 batters that he's faced. I mean, Cano is a keeper at this point, and we assume he still will be however long it takes to get Tate ready. But you've got him. And then, obviously, Felix Bautista, Brian Baker, they're not going anywhere. And Danny Coulombe, who was acquired for cash considerations at the end of spring training, has given up 1 run so far. And he is now the high-leverage, really lefty, because Cionel Perez has been struggling a little bit. But Perez, despite that, had a 1.40 ERA last year. He was a big high-leverage guy. He has no minor league options left. You're not just going to cast him aside and put him on waivers. Somebody will claim him. So that's not the obvious one. Mike Baumann, who's now,
he's pitching well.
Short spurt Mike is, 1 run, 11 strikeouts, and 11 1/3. There's no reason to send him out, and he gives them a little bit of a different look. He can go 1 or 2 innings. So then it's like, all right, Keegan Aiken, Austin Voth. They're both the longer length guys at this point that can provide length. And with Voth, we gave up a home run in each of his first 5 appearances. The last 2 have been scoreless. Avoided arbitration, the $1.85 million contract, and no minor league options.
No options.
And again, a guy that could be, somebody that can give them some length when you're bringing back, Tate and Givens, who are 1-inning guys.
Sure.
So the good news is there's no obvious move to make here, but eventually it's going to be a pleasant problem, but still a problem nonetheless.
Speaking of minor leagues, Colton Cowser's knocking on the door. He wants to be heard, I guess, right?
He does. Yes, the International League Player of the Week. The 391 average, 3 home runs, drove in 6 runs, scored 10, and he's got a 15-game on-base streak at this point for the season. He's hitting .290 with an .880 OPS. And, they went ahead and wanted to get down there to have more at-bats in AAA. They weren't going to break camp with him. He needs to, work still on, cutting down on the strikeouts. Just, they would have a certain number of at-bats they'd like to see him get in AAA to consider him. But this is a guy who could be beaten on the door, and this is similar to the bullpen issue, is where how would you make room for Colton Cowser? And before somebody says, well, Ryan McKenna, he's a right-handed hitter. He's more of a defensive replacement pinch runner in the occasional start. And I don't think you want to bring up Cowser and have him sit like Kyle Stowers was briefly before he got sent down.
Yeah, if you get him here, you want to play him.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to get steady at bats. I know the fluid DH spot makes that a little bit easier, but they've been using that a lot with Adley Rutschman, so he's not catching so much and wearing down. So if you're going to bring up a Colton Cowser, you've got to have an idea of, all right, we're going to be able to get him steady at bats.
Good problem.
And where? Another good problem, because right now that outfield looks pretty crowded.
More is better. Good to see you, Roch. Thanks a lot.
You.